Hello, dear friends, beautiful souls. Merry Christmas to you and happy holidays. Hope that you had a wonderful time, whether be it with family, with friends, or just in deep communion with yourself, however that appeared for you. This has been a beautiful season of tapping into the Christed light and unity in such a deeper, more expansive way. And I hope that the peace touched you, the blessings touched you in some way, shape, or form. And here we are in this in between, the in between of Christmas itself and then the linear that we know of at the start of the new year, that is the 1st of January. And I wanted to drop in and pop in because it became really apparent to me that this is such a powerful time that we can use a lot more intentionally. And for me, it actually begins in like the week before Christmas, in the build up to Christmas. My higher self over the years has led me into a review and reflection period. And it is one where we look at what has transpired, what has shifted, changed, evolved, what has been a challenge and what has been a joy over the last 12 months, and enabling to bring another sense of completion and another anchoring into the state of who I am now. And so I wanted to share that with you because in conversation with people, it has really come home to me at how we can harness a little better even the way that we use these cycles, that we use even simply reviewing, reflecting, and using that time of integration or in between to really touch base with ourselves and to really hone in on who we are now. So before we even look at bringing in these energies of 2026, it's like just wrapping up a little bit, wrapping up year in review and also looking at now, okay, so this is who I am and this is where I'm at and this is how it feels. So there's a slowness to this, a call to really deeply rest if needed, because it might be a little tiring and exhausting when you actually stop and witness all that has transpired, all that has transformed. And also allow the spaciousness of the new to actually reveal itself. Because sometimes we don't realize the new has actually arrived. So it came to me in the lead up and over the first few celebrations in the Christmas season. I am blessed to be able to have 2 or 3 celebrationary meals that occur with family. And something really struck me around the expectations that I had and the attachment that I had to certain things, to certain experiences and rituals, traditions, and things that would come forward at this time of year. And it was interesting to witness how, when it didn't meet my expectation, how that felt. And at first, what I witnessed was also that I was different. So I was showing up differently. So of course that meant my external reality was going to look a little different, feel a little different, and the interactions that I was having were going to be different. But the deepening of that was the understanding of the attachment that I had that was still connected to the old version of me, or even just into the past. And which is when my higher self kind of brought me back and said, this is why we do this. This is why you review and you reflect. And if anything, what has come through as well is, don't just save this for the once a year. Like, this is something that I'm being guided to do a little more regularly and to tap in almost like quarterly, of just tapping in with myself, you know, what has been moving in the last quarter and what has been challenging, what has been a joy, and where am I now? Who am I now? Because it also helps us understand the power of the completion as part of the cycle. And I have shared many times publicly that completion has never been my strong, had never been my strong suit. But this year I've really leaned into that energy that we've had with the year of the snake, and with the energy of completion coming forward, and so many more opportunities for me to witness that and to allow that to occur. And knowing to how to navigate that completion looks a little bit differently every time. But that it is important too that once that's happened, there's like another little period that occurs where we can expand onto who we are, we can feel into who we are, and we can kind of bring all of us into that particular moment before we step into the new. So there's a couple of, I feel, this is just in my experience, so please take what resonates and leave what doesn't. You know here that I am here to empower and support, not to tell you what to do or how to feel. But I have noticed that there are more rest periods, more integration periods in the stages of the cycle than maybe I once realized and perceived. And so I feel like this particular time between the Christmas and the 1st of January, between 25 and 1, let's say, is a powerful time to allow that to occur and to sit in contemplation, to sit with ourselves. You might have noticed too that you want to clear things out. Maybe you want to change your wardrobe. Maybe you want to declutter your home. Maybe move things around your space. But allow the spaciousness of the version of you that you are becoming to make themselves known in the present, because that's going to help you anchor who you are stepping into the new and not get pulled back as much, not be sort of attached or have the expectations that maybe were covertly coming through from that old version of you. And if nothing else, what has been hot and heavy, both personally and through a lot of sessions coming into this last week of the year, was surrender. The deepening of surrender and trusting in that process, trusting in the path. Many of us are already on the path. We are on the right track and we are exactly where we need to be. But it's the mind that has thrown up the roadblocks, the hurdles, to indicate, well, is it really, is it this, is it that? And it's throwing around variations of things that maybe we had in the past, or things that occurred in the past. It's like, what about this? What about this? What about this? And maybe you're feeling some uncomfortability in the body. Maybe you're feeling some uncomfortability in your presence, in your energy field, because there is this push-pull. So there are the old parts of you that do, like, what the subconscious and the ego is pulling at some of those parts of you, but it's not actually pulling you into the reactivity maybe in the way that it once was, but it still feels like, do I need to do something here? Is there something, that is there something that needs clearing, witnessing, acknowledging? And so I just bring that forward because I think that this is where we don't need to dig anymore. We don't need to dig for what's there. For a lot of it, it is just allowing, again, that skin to shed. It's allowing the change to become embodied and that shift to become embodied. And I know myself in the last 6 months, I've been feeling a lot of my nervous system wanting to fire up based on what my subconscious is throwing at it. And it's like, but I don't need to be, what is this feeling? Because I don't need to be feeling any of this. And sometimes even just in that witnessing of that itself, it has allowed the spaciousness for me to rest in, oh, this is the new. Oh, I'm just getting comfortable in how this feels now. So it's like having these conversations with yourself as well, as this is who I am now, and this is how this feels. Because maybe we haven't felt it before. Maybe you haven't felt this way before. Maybe that calm inner peace, the centered, the groundedness, the embodied presence, you haven't fully felt that before. So you're just learning that. And there is still this process, the seraphim have also shared with me, there's still a process of the dismantling of that old. And, you know, we know that the year of, well, depending on your school of thought, but the year of the snake won't officially finish till into February. And so there is still going to be maybe some depth of shedding that is required. And it is also interesting that from a few sessions I've had where the guidance coming in has also been, you are taking steps forward, you are moving forward. And even though it feels like you might take one or two back, it's only because the expansion creates a little contraction because it needs to push the parts of you, or the aspects, the emotion that isn't in alignment with that cannot be there to continue to move forward to the surface, to allow it to be almost like birthed out, released out, or just sort of aired out. So don't feel, don't be panicked, don't be upset. Try to speak to the frustration too when it feels like I'm going 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Because in actuality, you're making far greater movement than you can see. It's that because you have made a major shift or transformation there, that it's pushed some of that to the surface. So it can sometimes feel like it gets worse before it gets better, because it is just that last kind of piece where it needs to just pull away, shed away, complete in some way, shape, or form. So this leads me to why the review and the reflect period is so powerful, because it can help us identify some of this, and it can bring in, I've created a journal, and it's a free journal, it's a free PDF, and I will share the link in the details below, because it was something that my higher self kind of brought me to last year actually, and we've refined it this year because so much has changed. So it needed to change with me as well. But it was really important to kind of honor that, highlight that, and to witness that, because as you do that, particularly in a written way, the mind has the ability to understand a little bit more about what's happening, and the mind can see that picture happening. Because maybe you're like me and 2025 feels like it's been a blur because so much has happened, and I can't always pinpoint. Things were changing and shedding, releasing, completing, expanding so quickly that I couldn't always grasp every little thing that was happening. And through this, I've gone back, and it's prompted me to remember things, and oh, this, oh, that, oh, remember 12 months ago when we did this journal, and look at where we are now today. And it's even an interesting process to look at what you did, you know, like for me, it was interesting to look back 12 months ago and then to see what I was coming in at today, or now. So I really wanted to share that as a resource with you, because it felt so important to honor that period of completion to integration, for embodiment, for landing into who you are right now, so that you can step into 2026 and beyond with your most aligned, empowered version of self front and center in the body. And as we get more accustomed to witnessing this and moving with this, and actually approaching change and transformation with more curiosity and with more excitement, and with more the ability to just move with the flow of it more, it won't have to be such a maybe a linear process around doing that. But for right now, it just feels like this is something that we need to help us really anchor in, particularly because of that call coming forward. And if you're here with me, if you're in my world, we have the seraphim really igniting us into 2026 to embody our power, our sovereignty, and self-mastery. And once you are stepping on this path, once you are saying yes to that, and yes to remembering yourself in your sovereign state, in your sovereign self, then you will find anything that is not in alignment with that or not in coherence with that will come up to be witnessed, to be brought to the surface. So anticipate too, I'm sorry, that while we've had a big year in the year of the snake, that also I think in 2026 it will be a big year, because we will still need to face the aspects or the parts of us or the things that are arising in us that are in opposition to us in embodiment of power, of sovereignty, and because we are on the path of mastery. And this is what self-mastery looks like. It is that regulation, it is the embodiment, it is working with who we are and what the lessons are that we are here to experience, how we feel, how we move, how we take action, and how we show up as this beautiful divine being in physical form. It is really about the deepening of that journey as the divine in human form. So our humanity, I guess you would say, is going to become more present as well as we move forward in 2026, because it's how are you applying what you are learning and embodying from your sovereign divine self with your multidimensional aspects and your multidimensionality. How are you applying that through the physical form? How are you applying that in your communities or in the new earth frequency? And how are you taking action on that? So the call will be to stretch us again. And one of the words that's guiding me in 2026 is the word bold. So the seraphim have said to me that they are inviting me into bold, the frequency of bold. And as I'm speaking to you now, I'm feeling like it's bold action that is coming forward. And I know that to be true. And I feel like I want to grip the edges of my seat as I say that, because I don't know what this is going to look like. I don't know how this is going to feel, but it's definitely going to stretch the edges again of the comfort zone. So I am excited to take you on that ride with me. And as I said, if you're in my world, if this is, you're seeing this and connecting with me in some way, shape or form, the seraphim have called you here as well. So this is, while bold may not be your particular theme or frequency coming through, that I'm sure that there'll be something there, as I said, around embodying your power or your sovereignty. So when we think about that, I'm going to leave you with this, that what I have noticed a lot is when we are embracing our sovereign self, when we are remembering we are sovereign beings, what cannot be there is unworthiness, is powerlessness, is victim. And those are the three. I might add shame in there. I might add shame in there as well. But they are some of the key emotions and patterns, the beliefs, the limiting beliefs, the programs, the conditioning with any connection there. That's not there. There's some things, some of the things that you will probably find where you will be gifted experiences in your life that are going to show you what needs to be witnessed, to be acknowledged, to be held, to be seen, and to be loved and accepted and brought into compassion, forgiveness, and grace. Brought into the light of your heart, the eternal flame within your heart. So I say that not as like doom and gloom, but to empower you, because when we can remember that, when we can remember, like my favorite saying of Rebecca Campbell's from her, many of her card decks, that this is happening for us, not to us. And so if we can remember that, we can approach then what is coming forward with the understanding that it is actually helping us become the most empowered, sovereign, wisest version of ourselves in this physical form. So breathe, and just receive and allow. Because even this conversation might be sparking, triggering, expanding something within you now. So I invite you to connect if it feels resonant with my review and reflect journal. As I said, it is a free resource, and you can plot away at it. It doesn't have to be done by the 1st of January. It just is a time where we're naturally able to be drawn into that inward reflective state, contemplative state, as we prepare to feel into as well that what do you want 2026 to be? How do you want to feel in 2026? And so as much as I'm prepping you for what might be coming forward that isn't going to be able to stay with you and be carried with you, remembering you do have the power and the control. So what are your themes? What are your frequencies that you want to intend, to hold, to be? And allow that to also be your guiding presence across the year. I do highly recommend that you put it on a sticky note or you write it somewhere where you can see it every day of the year, to remind you that that's the intention that you're bringing in, and that's who I'm embodying, that's the frequency I'm holding, that's how I want to feel. I really worked with peace a lot, and it was so interesting to witness how that evolved over the year. So I simply wanted to start to feel that inner peace. I wanted to be in that calm, peaceful state. And then it was really interesting when I was reviewing my year just to see how that came through in so many different ways. And I had soul aspects coming forward as well to help me hold that, embody that. And while, yes, there were moments where life took me into some uncomfortable positions and experiences, it was actually more of a peaceful journey than it had been in the previous 12 months. But I wouldn't have witnessed that or noticed that or grasped that if I hadn't kind of been tracking through that review process. So for me, it was really interesting because this is the second year that I've done the review and reflect journal. So being able to look back at how I navigated 2024 and then how I navigated 2025, just to even see the difference that aligning myself to my intention and how powerful that was. So choose a word. Don't even wait for the word to come to you. Be bold and choose a word that you want to feel into and be your frequency for 2026. And have fun with then bringing that in wherever you can and remembering that across the year. Ki soyane tore sototo shamokai setayishoyanai. My higher self would like to connect with your higher self. Ishoyani taro ko shamutira setoshayana. Laia toya mosaki shatiana. Le oya mosakia shoya. Hielokoya mosakia shai. Iala tore mosatishokoyatiana. And with that, I wish you well, my dear friends, sending you so much love. Please comment below and let me know if you give the review journal a go or how you're feeling at this time, what your words are moving into 2026. With the deepest love from my heart to yours. May you have a blessed break or a slowing down in however that finds you. And until next time, much love.